situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
No, you are a YouTube channel. 1 second. I was checking the YouTube. Okay, let's try that again.
Oh, on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh.
Hold on, let me try that again. I'm not going to restart the whole thing. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part of the program, you can. One of many ways. One of them's Twitter. But actually, you can chat anywhere you like. Because we're on the Twitter, we're on the YouTube, we're on the Facebook, and I see all of those except for one of them. And Trent, what is that?
Yeah, it's the one where we always hear from Roller Dog NC, who in updating from our last episode is letting us know using the hashtag NetHeads that there are no plans for an audio book. But I tell you what, I'm just saying. You can't sell popcorn to no butts in the seats.
Exactly. By the way, just an embarrassing moment. I forgot to take out my orthodontic trays right before we got started. Came to that realization, but thankfully you talked about that quite well. Yeah, Twitter, hashtag NetHeads is the easiest way to take advantage of it, whether you're listening live or you're listening after the fact. Probably after the fact. That's the best use of it now. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm that Will Wilkins. Trent is at a part of him. Yep. And also, I want to remind everyone, too, that if you are a fan of NetHeads, first of all, we love you. Secondly, if you are interested in that kind of thing, you want to help support the creators in your lives, you can. We've got a Patreon we have a Patreon site. It's I think it's NetHeads on Air on Patreon, but you go to netheadsonair.com. There should be a link to it. So netheadsonair.com for as much information about the show as you like. Trent, let's kick things off a little down homey, shall we?
Yes, please.
Very good. I want you to know that the dishwasher dilemma is done.
Oh, good.
Yes. Also, I'm always happy to work in the alliteration. So, yeah, the dishwasher dilemma is done. It was interesting. I think I kvetched about having the repair guy out the last time, first guy versus second guy. He was convinced it was this little valve that sits after the pump, but before the drain hose that kind of acts as a flap to make sure you don't get any water backwashing, if you will, into the dishwasher, right? Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm going to order the part. I looked up the part list because nerd. And sure enough, my suspicion today was confirmed because he showed up and they had sent a new pump, which is the only way to get the valve that's after the pump before the drain hose. And wouldn't you know, it was actually the pump that was dead. So boy, oh boy, am I glad it went that route. Because otherwise I would have been, once again, kvetching about the goddamn dishwasher and home warranties and the like.
Yeah, I was going to say, and lamenting to the Bob Vilas of the world about, the home warranty.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, can't wait to cancel. Cannot wait to cancel it. But neither here nor there. The whole point is the dishwasher is back. It's in. We're pumped. Tonight, I was so excited. I've prepped everything for the turkey burgers ahead of time. Use as many bowls, plates, spoons. Hell, I used a whisk and I didn't even whisk anything. Why? Because with the dish sanitizer can come into play again. By the way, I also realize there is another reason why I prefer to hand wash dishes over putting them in the dishwasher, okay?
Okay.
I think last week my biggest complaint was that you're doing the exact same work, but you're doing it for somebody else, which is the machine. I think the other reason, though, why I like it, I finally realized what it is. It's because I was able to know, because I was actually doing it. Because, mind you, you got to keep in mind, Trent, I think my wife probably summed it up best a little earlier today when she told me, I think you've done the dishes more this year than you have, I don't know, maybe in the last 3 years, right?
Wow.
But I'm definitely excited to wash dishes, and I think it's because I just find the whole process relaxing. I was bagging on it. Maybe I should help out with the dishes a little more now, because it's one of the few times I've been able to just like put in my earbuds, throw on a podcast, and like we said last time too. There's last night I was doing the dishes. Denise came back from upstairs and instantly started drying, and it was a team effort, and I like that.
Yeah.
Much in the same way I like doing this with you. Team effort works out really great. Trent.
Sir.
Oh, you said sir. I thought you were...
Sir.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a true diversity connection here. I wanted to know if you knew about, were aware of, or more importantly, wanted an invite to the Clubhouse app. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. I have not received an invite. I would like one, please.
Good to know. I have 2. One is yours, just so you know.
Thank you.
I still don't know quite what to think of it. I've been on there. I've seen its practical use. For those of you that don't know, it's a new social... I'd almost call it a social networking app, but it's a new social media app. And it is strictly audio. You make rooms, you talk to people, you can bring people up onto the stage and they can speak. You can kick them back into the audience or ask them to move themselves down in. But it's interesting. It's almost like a social media app that is built around the concept of conference calls in a weird way.
Yeah, it is. It's a user-friendly social Zoom, essentially.
But
and
no
boy,
words of camera.
Can you imagine if this had been around, like in the public eye 6 months before the pandemic hit?
It definitely would have been nice, for sure. But and it probably would have been wider adopted. But they are going with the invite only approach, kind of like Gmail. As a matter of fact, the whole vibe felt like Gmail back in the day. Although I do admit, after finally becoming aware of it and saying, oh, well, I'd love to check this out, I went on to get on the wait list thinking, well, that's it for me, right? But apparently I still got some juice in this world, Trent, because 11 seconds later, somebody on the app recognized me and basically vouched for me, and I got bumped up in the list right away.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So special thanks to Bagged and Boarded and many other podcast fames, Matt Cohen, for that. Appreciate it, sir. It's nice to check it out. I do plan on playing with it more once I get more comfortable with it. But the interesting thing that I found, one, it was good to hear that these kind of conference calls, the audio never is supposed to leave the app, so you can't really outsource the audio. It's trapped in there. So the conversations that happen in there are in there. But also, it's an amazing app because I think from a marketing standpoint, even though it's a captured audience, you can host rooms on specific topics. And if certain members of the audience may relate to this, imagine being able to put together your own Comic-Con panel at any moment, right?
Yeah.
And have a topic. Ash Williams is at work. Michelle Kuzo, hi. Nice to see you. Nick Brody, what up? So it's great though, because you can actually like start to make yourself be a learned person in a topic, a subject matter expert, I think was the term I was fishing for before I lost it. You can set one of these things up in a heartbeat, and that's the reason why I want to play with it. In that respect, I just want to throw a room together and see what happens. I've seen some that are very topic oriented, and it's amazing the way some people are able to command a room in there. But I will send. Go ahead and do the. There's a feature for it. Just get the app, register for the wait list, and when I see it, I'll vouch for you. We'll see if that burns one of my invites or not.
Done and done.
Woo. Anyway, there is crowdsource. Another thing I wanted to talk about, though, actually, did you have any thoughts? Because I'm just bringing up topics, talking about them, letting you react, and moving on. That's not good.
Yeah, just I was just browsing through the news. Apparently, Elon Musk, he tweeted about something that he thought was a different Clubhouse, like a music app he was tweeting about. But everyone thought he was talking about this. And so yesterday, their stocks went through the roof. Clubhouse app did, just because he mentioned a related group, not about them.
Dude, we started to. Did we start to talk about the stock market thing last time? Yeah, that was somehow that kind of became a thing. I think at the same time we recorded our last episode, which, by the way, kudos to you, sir. 2 weeks in a row, we're on a roll.
Yeah. And a tip of the hat to you as well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You have a hat. I have no hat. I cannot tip. There are plenty up there, but I'm not going to grab one. It's amazing the way the stock market can be played. I don't really want to get into the topic too much, other than it's very interesting, kind of like other things we see in play, if you will, with what has happened in the whole GameStop short squeeze, hedge fund screwing over by the little guy kind of thing that happened.
Right.
But in many ways, this might be kind of a pivotal point to the stock market that and work with me here. Let's see if my thinking goes right. This may kind of be the Napster moment for Wall Street, if you will.
I saw someone post something that kind of resonated with me in just how, like, this is the way that the millennials should have taken on Wall Street rather than Occupy Wall Street.
It's kind of, because it's definitely something that I think the news has been able to somehow cover. Unlike that whole sit-in, people were like, "Well, but what is it accomplishing?" And we're like, "We don't know."
Yeah, exactly. And it is affected things, whether it was positive, negative, whatever. It had an effect, which then gets covered, right? And so yeah, it would just when I saw that illusion between the two, I was like, holy shit, they're right. And no one had to like leave their house to do it.
No, they didn't. Once again, the power of the internet is terrifying. Again, I don't know which way to go on this, but I definitely feel like this will be a redefining moment in the way that Napster was. Napster is kind of an event that ended up revolutionizing the music industry. I think CDs may have had a little bit of a longer shelf life had it not been for Napster. And so I feel like this, the stuff that we're seeing now is definitely going to be a redefining moment, because in a way it's kind of exposed the fact that, what's happening right now is the hedge fund people are pissed that other people have gamed them at their own game, and
essentially doing exactly what they do.
Exactly. And now they're feeling that same pain. In other words, the rich old guys probably don't like that the young kids cracked the code, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It was a gamble, right? This wouldn't work for just anything, right? It had to have all the power of everyone joining in together as individuals, right? Like, it's like you said, this is kind of a snapshot moment, because I don't know if anyone would ever do that. Just like all the circumstances, just people being at home, being bored, maybe having some extra funds they could play around with. Like it was just like this perfect snapshot for something like this to happen.
Yeah, the true zeitgeist of the moment, much in the way that kind of, things happen, cause and effect. We saw more people in this past election vote than have ever voted in this country before. Gee, could it have been because of how easy we made it? I don't know. Might be something there.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, Utah has like, I don't know how many years though. It's probably been maybe 6 years. It's all been mail in. Like if you want to, all my voting has been locally, has been mail in. And I voted in every election because it's that easy. Leaving work to go down to the elementary school or the senior citizen center, wherever it might be, to vote is a pain in the butt. And doing it through mail works. It just does.
Yeah, definitely. It is something that is just insanely easy. Anyway, I've voted in California. They made sure everyone could vote by mail, but before I had voted absentee as well, because they really don't. You don't really need a reason. You just need to request it, and because of that, like you said, I mean, the only thing is that sometimes they'll send a sticker for you. They definitely did this time. But I don't know. There's something about going to a polling place as well on the election day. Although I really hope that the past election does cause the ratification or new adoption of this approach across the board, because it's just one of those. Sorry, I lost my thought where I was going with this. Other than the fact that I really hope that they now consider possibly taking something like voting day and stretching it out the way they did for this past election. In other words, there's a voting period, not a specific day. So that way more people have an opportunity to vote as well if they choose to vote early and in person. Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get into the topic of the election at all. I was just trying to say that I think that what we're seeing now is definitely going to be something that helps kind of level the Wall Street game for everyone. But the other thing that I'm kind of worried about now too are all of the kids that may have been using Robinhood with their dad's credit cards and are going to get freaked out because of how much debt they're in because they were buying at the 300 and plus line, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But none of that is really interesting to me. In a way. But what is interesting to me is another thing. Boy, we keep going from technology to audio here, and I'm sorry I'm bouncing around like a hyped up frog. But I had a thought, because one of the things we always tell people is that you can interact with us live via Skype, right?
Yes.
And I didn't realize how much of a dinosaur we've now become by adhering to that. Because if we were, say, to take live calls now, it doesn't even need to be a phone call. It doesn't even need to be Skype. And it doesn't even need to be complex. Because, sitting in here, occasionally you might hear the Skype ring, and then I get annoyed, and I have to take it out and post and the like. One of the things that's really become popular, it's kind of the new messaging board system. It is definitely something that has gone way beyond the original intention of gaming. Discord.
Yeah.
Right? With Discord, not only could we go ahead and still take calls, but then there's that whole audience interaction in between things. But the other thing too is, like, I've been in Discords where they basically, like, let's say somebody wanted to talk live with us, or we reinvented NetHeads in a way where instead of it just being you and I, we put together kind of an entire community conversation at once. It can be done because you can have multiple people on a Discord voice chat, but you could also have a waiting room. So it's like, if you want to talk, then you can be queued up here, and then the host can just bring them into the conversation. I'm thinking we're way behind, and we should set up a NetHeads Discord. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The only times that I have used Discord other than gaming has been for people who have purchased a pay-per-view and are screen sharing it, and others can watch and like watch it with them. Kind of a work an alternative to watch parties.
I would never imagine you would take part in something that's a blatant copyright violation like that. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's technically. I don't know. I'm sure it's a gray area. I'm sure no one could be prosecuted under it, but it would go to court.
oh, most definitely. Yeah, for sure. Although I would argue that in these current pandemic times, it's like, well, these are the people I would have invited over to my house anyway to watch it with me.
Yeah, that's why I think I could get around it just out of like, well, if we're going off Nielsen ratings, I'm under 5 people, and you've already counted me for 5 having watched it, just having purchased the pay-per-view. So,
Wow. Trent, I didn't know you had this type of Nielsen knowledge.
oh, I used to. I mean, granted, everyone's involved now, basically with streaming services, but. When I had DirecTV, I was a Nielsen reporter. I like logged all the stuff I watched and mailed it in, and they sent me a new logbook every 2 weeks, I think.
So antiquated. But
I know.
but would the logs be just verification of digital information, or literally still logs?
No, well, I'm not sure. Like, again, this probably would have been like 12 years ago, but like I was like it was a bound notebook that had a schedule, and I wrote down and it had there were codes for it, whether if you'd watched it, if you DVR'd it, and they still want to know when you watched your DVR stuff and when it was DVR, the original date, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, okay. Very good. That makes sense. But yeah, now metrics are an entirely transparent thing, as long as you agree to let your information out, because I mean, let's reflect on how much information I'm giving away to Amazon for just a moment, shall we? So, I watch everything pretty much through the Fire TV, whether I'm watching Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, etc., etc. I'm streaming those through a Fire TV. And additionally, I have the Fire TV Recast, or whatever it is, their DVR. So Amazon knows exactly what television shows I'm also recording, because I'm sure one of the things that they license with Hulu and Disney Plus, etc., is the fact that they get some insight into my activity. That's probably one of the things about being on the platform. So,
I mean, and even if they weren't, since all of those services are going through AWS anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good point as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to get. The more I think about it, man, I made an offhanded comment to somebody the other day, and it's true. One person with enough money, like let's just say Jeff Bezos, okay? He's probably not the best example. I think this would be more of a Zuckerberg thing.
Okay.
I just mean for the type of person, company, and control. Because, Jeff Bezos is apparently stepping down from Amazon. Did you hear that?
Well, I mean, I think I see it. It's like a lateral move, right? It's still having all the power to veto with none of the risk and day-to-day effort. He's becoming the executive chair of the board.
Yeah. So he's still going to have more money than I'll ever even be able to imagine in this lifetime.
Yeah. More money than we can even like literally comprehend.
More than anyone can spend. Somebody like, well, I guess we could use him as well, like anybody. But like, let's just think of the major social media companies like in play right now. So let's go Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Okay, well, let's take any one of those three. If you had enough vision and you had the money and you were willing to play a long game, much in the same way that we have seen, you could literally reprogram the masses to align with your way of thinking.
Oh, like, do you mean like philosophically or as a user?
Yes.
Or both?
Yeah. Exactly. Because, like, if I sit down to go scroll the wonderful TikToks, right, and take a look at the videos and laugh at the people lip syncing, feel awkward about the teenagers dancing, you know, all that stuff. I'm going to start receiving specific messages. Like for example, there's a whole group of people on TikTok that are Trump supporters, right? They're all Trump 2020, the election stolen. Probably, I don't know. I don't want to speculate who they are. I never see them on when I'm scrolling through there because the algorithm has got an idea about what I like.
Right.
But if there were certain messages that had a different way of thinking that they wanted to steer me towards, just, you know, blip them in there here and there, and they will see if they start getting traction or not. And again, the right algorithm and the right amount of collaboration of information and philosophies, if you will. So in other words, what are the stepping stones to get somebody from A to Z? What is it that's going to work to do that? And start just slipping those in. Be very easy for a social media company and the owner, if you will, especially if it weren't a public one, to go ahead and really steer public opinion and the zeitgeist, if you will, Trent.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and that's kind of like, that's the interesting thing about it too. Like, were Facebook still a private company, all of the hubbub about, you know, is this morally right, blah blah blah, would be moot, because it like they wouldn't have to report on any of it essentially.
Exactly.
They also wouldn't be as big as they are.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have the funding behind them. But yeah, it's so there is some definite transparency that does come with, you know, having to be at least accountable to your shareholders.
Yeah. And unless, of course, they're bought and paid for it as well, because as long as the checks keep coming, they'll shut up.
I will happily like facilitate anyone's bad choices in business if they want to pay me for it.
By the way,
and when I say facilitate, I meant validate.
Understood completely. Never so clever as this, by the way, wanted to point out he could have a Discord up and running for us in moments. Thank you. I appreciate that. I only say I could too, because I've had to, for other reasons, I've had to learn Discord kind of in and out. But I just love some of the features. Anyway, that's that topic. This is this one right now. We're talking about how Amazon viewing is probably going to make the world be easily taken over. I don't really think that's the case, but it is. I'm continuously amazed at how much of my information that I'm willing to give away for convenience.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things too. Like I don't know why, but I'm just one of those people that always has to turn on my location on my phone whenever I use maps or direction, because I just don't want it tracking where I'm at all the time. Like I've got friends who are signed up for Google surveys. You know, you do a survey and you get a ranking on how fast you can do them and how thoroughly you can do them, and then you get paid for them. They send you more, blah blah blah. And they've gotten so good at doing the surveys, and their geo tracking it on their phone is so good, they'll walk past a store and just like that they'll get a survey for it, being like, I just walked by, I didn't even buy anything.
Yeah, that's all you need, man. That is one of the, now I don't know, because I haven't really looked at the Android phone a whole lot lately, even though it's running the latest version. In Mac, the iOS now, not Mac, you have an ability every time you go to turn on or something wants to ask to use your location services, you get to give the option of all the time, only when the app is running, or F off, basically.
Ah, okay.
Does that exist in the Android world?
Honestly, I don't know, because I use anything that's geo-based so infrequently. It's probably been years since I've used one.
Haven't had to use a GPS going from upstairs down to the downstairs or back and forth from work?
I sadly, I know where the masturbatorium is, and I can get there all too frequently.
Once again, you got me. Gosh darn it. an innocent topic, and somehow you made it awkward. I'm sort of the same way in the Apple universe there in the iOS. I always just say you can use the GPS when I'm using the app, and that's it. And then I make sure that I even swipe it away from history just to make sure that it truly is history at that point. But I'm amazed at how much information we give away for convenience. I mean, like, my family is I don't want to say irritated with me. I don't want to say it, but they are, because I keep insisting on putting in so many smart devices. Like, if I see, like, obviously I've got the lights.
House.
Yeah. Because, you can ask, I can say it safely here, but you can ask the Alexa to turn on the TV. You can tell it to ask it to turn on the kitchen lights. You can ask it to turn on a light in Blair's room. You can ask it to turn on lights in the master bedroom. You can be watching TV and ask to see the backyard camera. And by the way, last week we confirmed the fact having Internet of Things devices is one of the easiest ways to either compromise yourself with others or what have you.
Right.
Or get compromised. As a matter of fact, my wife was watching, I think, 911 on Fox, and they had a hyper example of a smart home being controlled by the ex-girlfriend after she's moved out.
Oh, nice.
Which results in a guy ended up actually getting scalding burns in the shower and falling and getting hurt because the house was over smart. But,
What?
I'm not going to lie, Trent. I want my house to be the Enterprise.
I mean, that's all we've ever wanted, right? I mean, that's why we still like going to the grocery store sometimes, just so that those doors will go whoosh.
It's the reason why I have on the back of the door here a beautiful gift from my friend Trent. It's a comms panel, a replica one from ThinkGeek. May she rest in peace. That's the classic Enterprise panel. I mean, looks just like the same molded plastic they used on the set. And when I'm in the mood, I flick the switch up. So that way when somebody opens my door, it goes whoosh, whoosh. Because that's what I want.
Yep. That's all any of us ever wanted.
Like, let's put it this way. We are, we are quite into the show, more so than I expected. And immediately after this, I'm going to be cooking dinner. I got everything prepped, like I said. So I love being able to say, computer. Did it light up? I didn't look. No, it didn't. Computer. Preheat upper oven 425 degrees.
Holy shit, are you serious?
Preheating upper oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm not messing with you, son. When we finally got to replace the oven in this house, I'm like, oh, Wi-Fi enabled.
Okay, so I mean, is this a gas or conventional oven?
It's funny you should mention that. This one is an electric.
Okay, that's interesting to me.
Why is
Holy
that?
ball. Just it's. I'm just like my literally my oven is from the 1950s.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I know. And I know it seems contradictory because last week I said, why on earth would you need a dishwasher that's Wi-Fi enabled? Now, I mean, like, I don't know anybody that is sitting there going, gosh almighty, I can't go to bed until these dishes are done. Because that's when you run it. But, I guess if you were very eager, you could ask it if the dishes are done. Like, I can ask it what temperature the oven is at. Like, if 20 minutes from now, if I'm like, well, is it warm enough yet? I can ask the oven. I don't know.
Okay.
So that's wonderful. I could turn on either one. I can turn them off. Like if I think I forgot to turn off the oven, I could do that. So the oven makes a little more sense. Like you could preheat the oven on the way home from the grocery store with your frozen pizza in the bag.
Yep. Or if say like you're doing like a roast or something and you wanted to cut the heat off so it would continue cooking just in its own heat. Or anything like the oven thing, that makes total sense to me. That's why I'm so wowed by it. Now, the dishwasher would make more sense if it had some sort of CPU that could run diagnostics. But where, they still had to send some dude out to like look at it, thing. So you can basically turn it on and turn it off. Like,
Hey, look, let me tell you something, Trent. I'm now convinced after this whole fiasco. How do we get back to the dishwasher? I'm now convinced after this whole fiasco that the only difference between dishwashers overall is perhaps the number of racks or the fancy spinny things you made. Okay, no. The main difference in them is how much insulation they have around them. That's what it is. Because other than that, they all do the same thing.
yes, how quiet they are.
This repair guy came out and he guessed wrong. Only reason why it's fixed is because the part came with a part. It's the only reason.
Yeah.
But there was nothing he could do to hook up just to run a quick diagnostic to verify the pump is working strong enough or not, Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm just like, so what's the point of having Wi-Fi?
Yeah, and so if it does that, yeah. And once again, haven't still looked at any of the features. While we're bagging on it completely, haven't verified whatsoever one little bit what a Wi-Fi enabled dishwasher does. Maybe for the next show, or maybe for the supplemental edition I do on Patreon.
Yeah.
Maybe. But not today. Not today, my friend. Although I am still very interested to find out what that is. But yeah, I mean, but again, convenience. And now, now I'm sure there's a way to track that oven back to inside my house and find my IP address and find my network. Never So Clever as This wants to know, does the smart oven have an auto off safety feature? Not that I've accidentally found out about yet. So, no.
Well, speaking of safety features, doing a quick Google search though, that seems to be like the main linchpin for a smart enabled dishwasher.
Oh, you are doing it today. Okay.
It's to lock it. That's all. Just to lock it. So that a kid can climb in.
Okay. So there we go. So it's you can have an app to unlock your front door, your side door, or the dishwasher.
Yep.
I've heard about kids getting trapped in refrigerators. Never heard the dishwasher. That's a new one on me.
No, and I've kids getting into the dryer and their siblings running the tumble cycle because you get bored in Wyoming during the summer. But other than that,
not firsthand experience. You don't have direct knowledge of that, though.
Of course not. No, that's not why they chose to run just the tumble cycle and not the heat cycle, because that could actually hurt me.
Oh, good. I'm glad they left it on air dry. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Looking out for me.
I mean, if this were to happen, I just look, I don't like with this dishwasher that we've got now. I mean, like, even if I were much smaller and crawled in, I could just push it open. It just clicks open. It's not like the old school dishwashers I remember having as a kid where you had to flick that handle over.
Yeah.
Switch. Lever?
Lock?
Yeah, let's just go with lock. It covers everything, right?
Yeah.
I think that's good. By the way, I just wanted to remind you, Trent, that there is a lot of heat going on in the Patreon. Wondering when Lauren Gardner is going to get to this Nagathon play-by-play commentary highlights or whatever. I've forgotten what it is actually.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be soon, because I know he's got another. Like I with Death Ray Media have got to shoot next weekend, and he's going to be doing play-by-play there. So hopefully he can get it done before then.
I think much like Punxsutawney Phil seeing his shadow today, 6 more weeks till we'll have 6 more weeks of Nagathon, everybody.
Happy Groundhog Day, Will. I totally forgot.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. It was the kids' school, because I know everything that's happening at school because school's here. As one of my coworkers said, isn't it weird that you can take a shower in your office now?
Yeah, it's true.
A little weird. But yeah. Wait, what was I talking about?
Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah. So my daughter's school, they had to make a prediction about what the groundhog would see. And apparently the Punxsutawney coverage, because of the pandemic of things, was done virtually. So we all really got to see, the ceremony, which, look, I don't understand how the groundhog is looking to see his shadow, yet somehow they got a scroll with everything already on it. As what kind of voodoo is that, Trent?
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, was this just like an early nation trying to like create some folklore that would try and unite us in some sort of nationalistic spirit? Because otherwise, this just seems like bad witchcraft.
Trent, I'm gonna tell you, I think the person that summed it up best for me was Jensen Karp a little earlier today. Let me look this up in real time. Jensen Karp, you may know him as Hot Carl. He summed it up best. He said, "These Q people are so crazy with their insane theories and unfounded belief. It's nuts." Anyway, did the groundhog see its own shadow to tell us when a season starts?
Yep.
Yeah, I think somebody was passing around the peace pipe back in the day, and they're just like, "Hey, what if a groundhog?" No, man. But it was really interesting to see, only because I've never seen it in such real time and in such quality. The pomp and circumstance that goes into it is damn near admirable.
Really?
Yeah, because, they really are, just like Connie you see in Groundhog Day, they're all up on stage in top hats and black tie in the snow, and they're there with this rabid little animal that's just
scared to death. Like, what the hell?
No, this one, I think Phil, I wonder, what number Phil is this, if you will, you know what I mean? But Phil is actually very docile, it would appear. He was very, very relaxed. He's like, "I'm okay with this. Yeah. Big guy in a beard's talking to me, or big guy's talking to me. Other big guy in a beard's holding me. I'm down with this." Although I do kind of have some, they got some gall as well. Because when they were reading the scroll, they talked about, "On this beautiful sunny day, I do see my shadow. Bitch, it's overcast and you're in snow. Who you trying to fool?" I'm just saying, there might be some shenanigans behind the groundhog, Trent.
Yeah.
There might be.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, there's a lot, let's face it, okay? There's a lot of things we do that are just weird when you break it down, okay? Let's all dress up in costumes. And then we're going to go to strangers' doors and ask for candy. Right?
And tell them that if they don't give us candy, we're going to do something bad to them.
Weird. Basically, mob tactics and extortion. And then let's get into Easter. Okay? A big magic rabbit is going to bring chocolate eggs and joy to all the children.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. Sure. Also, let's not forget another thing, too. During St. Patrick's Day, Trent. St. Patrick's Day. Now, it used to just be wear something green. Kiss me, I'm Irish. Luck of the Irish. Being racially insensitive and run around saying, "Oh, it's after me, Lucky Charms." All that jazz.
Yeah.
Used to be that. Now, the leprechauns are here. They're a menace. They're up to shenanigans. You got to try and trap the leprechaun. Yeah. Toilet bowl water gets turned green.
I did not know this.
Oh yeah, you gotta make a leprechaun trap. I had a realization. The reason why these things happen. It's a little dark, Trent. I'm not gonna lie. But it's just as simple as this. Life is horrific, and there is no harm in preserving a little magic when there is all of this to deal with after.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
that's how I justify it. Because otherwise, it's like, look, I'm not saying. Well, first of all, I'm not saying I'm crazy. I'm not saying it.
Sure.
And I'm not saying you could develop trust issues.
Okay.
But I still get to points where I'm like, all right, so is there just like this because I don't like to talk about such things, but I am going to be hitting half a century in March, okay? So and like lately I've been having this situation where I go to bed and it used to be I go to bed and then, I begrudgingly wake up when the alarm goes off. Maybe I hit snooze, all that jazz. Now, it has gotten to the point where I go to bed and then for some reason around 5 o'clock, my mind gets turned up to 11. My eyes shoot awake. I curse the gods, pray I could go back to sleep, most often don't, and begrudgingly get up out of frustration.
Yeah.
Is this one of those things that is like an unspoken secret that adults aren't sharing with me? That, is everybody going through this?
Yeah, it's like Logan's Run. They've got to keep it a secret.
Exactly. All I'm saying is I'm starting to feel like maybe there are some other things that maybe weren't shared with me.
Yeah, that someone should have cued you into before it happened.
I got fundamental trust issues, Trent.
Uh,
and that's the reason why. I didn't ask to play your game. You made me a part of it. Now are there other unspoken rules nobody's talking about?
Yeah.
Am I crazy, Trent?
I luckily have not experienced that. So I don't know, Will. I don't know.
Okay, I'm glad. And yes, apparently I'm the one with mental issues. Good to know. Thank you for backing that up for me. Oh, Trent, do you mind dipping into TV a little bit?
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming, based on past experience, somebody's probably waiting for all of WandaVision to play out before they watch it.
Right you are, sir. However, I have now seen the Mandalorian.
Oh! All right. Well, hey, welcome to December, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Or was that November? Was it the beginning of December? I think it was early December, right?
I think, yeah.
Never So Clever as This says Russia doesn't have groundhogs. That's why winter never ends. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that is collective. Aww. So, anyway, welcome to December. What did you think?
It was a lot. I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think that the series benefits from watching in a single sitting because there's a definite cadence throughout the series that carries through. Possibly one of the best opening fight scenes of any cinematic event. The fight scene at the fighting ring.
Yeah.
And the scoring during that is just one guitar doing metal riffs. It's really, really good. And like the first season, it has a filler episode that wasn't really needed.
Which I'm guessing it's the one where he has to go back and get the ship fixed and then has to help. And the only thing we get out of that is the recording so that we know they're trying to replicate DNA or do something.
And we have the reveal of Django chasing after him as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, the second episode, the Frog Lady episode, did nothing to further the plot.
I would probably completely agree with you, except that one, it became part of the journey for him to traverse the story, specifically getting to the Frog Lady's planet in order to encounter the other Mandalorians. But I would also disagree, only because, actually, you're right. It's filler, but it's only filler because it is the first it's the second domino, okay, in one of those splits. You can't get to other points in the story unless the stuff here happens. Because I felt the same way when I watched it. I'm like, why? This was interesting and all, and X-Wings, but still,
Right, yeah.
Why am I here? Right?
Yeah, as far as like if we're looking to get character A as far as development goes, from a character from point A to point B, the most I could ascribe to that episode was showing that he is neither good nor bad, but leaning more towards chaotic good. Right? Where the X-Wing fighters are like, yeah, we should take you in, but you did blah blah blah, so you're lucky we don't take you in, and then they fly off. So that's what I was like. Okay, I mean, it was still great. I still loved it, right?
Yeah.
It was just the less of the season.
Yeah. It had a lot of weirdness in it, because like the weird spider creatures, weird, and also the creepiness of like this is my last chance to extend my line, but the cute little alien is just gonna pop them eggs like they're caviar.
Yeah, and here I was thinking like, oh, we're gonna have a good swerve at the end. All the other eggs are going to get destroyed, and then he's gonna puke them up for her, showing that he foresaw what was gonna happen, and that's why he was trying to get the eggs so much, right? And then that we would see the child as like this benevolent creature. Nope,
he just ate him. But I don't want to get into details, but I completely agree with you. It definitely was a filler episode. I think the other thing too, I think that I would like to see the story fundamentally change is all of the there's a lot of, okay, well, I'll help your storyline A, but first you got to come over to storyline B with me. And it's a lot of, I'll do that for you, but you got to do this. A lot of whataboutism,
Yep. Yeah, video games. It's all about the side quest.
Exactly. It's like, oh gosh, come on now. Do I really have to go kill 20 Bazorks just so I can have the skin to get my epic item? Come on now.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of B story. I'd like to see that change. But overall, I think the important part, in case, and spoilers. But what was your reaction in those final scenes of that final episode?
Oh, I loved it, man. I thought it was great. In fact, so much so that I didn't want there to be another season. I thought that was a great way to end it.
I think so too. You have a very good point there, because but also narratively speaking, I feel like they are making a massive change now, because it's like that's going to happen. But I think at some point the story is going to come back around. Like we may have like a time jump of 10 years later, and at the last second, it's going to be Grogu coming in with swords a-spinning, because that's the other thing that's a problem with that show. And I'm not saying it's a problem because it's a problem. I'm saying it's a problem because we probably don't know the whole story. But Yoda in Empire is 900, and he's really old. Grogu in this is around 50, and he's really young. So the growth spurt these guys go through must be some stuff.
Yeah, it's like a delayed dog almost, right? Like imagine if a dog was a puppy forever, and then it grew up over like one day.
Yeah, that's a little imbalanced, but anyway, that's something we could see. Other great TV news, though, we finally got a trailer, and we know the drop date for The Flash. Finally, it's coming back, and it's going to be March 2nd, and I don't know if production was delayed because of COVID. I'm sure it was. Or if they're going to do an abbreviated season this year. But I was thinking about it. That show usually comes back in like October. We get about 6 episodes. Then it goes away until almost March. So realistically, if they were able to go back to work and start shooting, the only thing we're going to find is that we have less gaps in what. Not that
Yep.
you care, because you're like, yeah, season streaming it.
Yep.
I don't.
Yeah.
I understand, and I admire you for it. Like, I wish I could be doing that with WandaVision, but
Yeah.
I just, unfortunately, I gots to know, and it upsets me because, now I got to sit here and wait. But it is what it is. Like, and I realized something. Like, lately, I watch almost no television. I'm either watching movies, or right now is it Wednesday? Okay, it's a new episode of The Stand, or is it Friday? It's a new episode of WandaVision. That's where my life pretty much revolves around right now.
See, and I'm the exact opposite. It's like, oh crap, I am running out of TV shows to watch. I guess I'll go back and rewatch Silicon Valley.
Yeah, may as well. In many ways, I think that I'm going to be a lot more appreciative of that show when it comes back, especially since it got cut short in production. Like, it ended on a cliffhanger they never intended. So
Right.
I'm very excited for that, which is why I brought it up, obviously. I'm very excited for The Flash to come back. But other than that, I don't know if you also heard the news, Superstore has been canceled.
Oh no! So that is one thing that I watch week to week, and I have loved how they've integrated the pandemic into their plot and their storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
that breaks my heart. That is a great television show.
When I heard the facts, I wasn't quite surprised, though, because America Ferrera left the show this season. But more importantly, it's the 6th season, and it's a large ensemble show. So there was a very low likelihood of them getting to a 7th season anyway.
Actually, and I wondered because Steve G had posted a few photos and thanking everyone on the set for various things. So that actually makes way more sense.
Yeah, it's it's part of the corporate beast. I think the seventh season is either typically the last one, or it's after that 7th season that salaries automatically start bumping. And again, large cast, so not surprised. But they will be missed. But I'm not surprised you can watch it week to week, because it's very just like standalone, fun, funny, easy to diverse.
Yep.
You're just in and out quick.
Yep, it is. It's a good one. That's a sad one to see go, but this too, I guess all things go the way of, well, what we will eventually do, which is die.
Again, keeping a little bit of the magic alive. Yeah, I think the one thing the pandemic truly has done is put a lot more stuff into perspective for me. It's like, oh man, the Superstore got canceled. That's a bummer. I still can't go to the grocery store. So
Right, yeah.
yeah, I'm not too upset. Well, Trent, we accomplished something today. I don't know what we accomplished, but we accomplished something. At least in addition to 300 wait, what episode was this?
Episode 328.
Thank you. So at least we've created another addendum to that first episode way back when we were talking Flash Fast. Thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it for our show. I don't mean that came out weird. I just wanted to say I appreciate you being here. Also, something to look forward to, Trent. Either Thursday or Friday, we will finally have the answer for the note that I put in the box that said, I wonder if I'll mail this out before 2021 or 2022 gets here.
Right, yeah.
Your package has arrived. Now I'm gonna spoil it. The real Christmas gift that's in there is a beard comb. That was the object that facilitated the entire box.
Yeah. I am excited for it, dude. I am all about. I'll be honest. My biggest and this is going to be so self-centered, but the thing I'm looking forward to most with the end of a pandemic will be to just do my beard when I go out, not to do my beard and then cover it up. I want to feel pretty.
Oh, so you still do, just like everybody, you're doing the grooming, but then you've got to cover it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, just so you know, that was the real gift that facilitated everything else. Because I've decided in cleaning things out here and in with our Patreon subscribers and everything else, I've decided that I am going to take a flea market approach to this, if you will, and I'm just going to start spreading the what do I do with this. I'm making my junk other people's problems. That's essentially what I'm doing, okay?
That makes sense.
Shy of boxing, I don't want to just box my stuff out and leave it for Porch Pirates so that way it disappears. I figure try and send things that are cool to the people that I like. So Patreon subscribers, if you didn't hear it before, please update your address. But I didn't.
And it's just a way of like curating things for them.
There you go. That's I know. I even use the term curated. Not here. Anyway, but I did include some things that I thought you might like. And you can tell that I'm a parent because for some reason, of course, I sent a nice pair of socks.
And I've had this conversation. My dad and I always appreciate socks for Christmas, and it pisses my mom off.
Why would it piss her off? Why?
She feels that that's not an adequate gift, but my dad is always able to work in a pack of socks for me every year.
I think the right, because let's face it, man, on a cold winter's morning, there's a specific kind of sock that you're going to be looking forward to, right? You're like, I'm going to get those nice thicker socks. They got the nice ankle support and it'll feel warm and soft on my feet, right?
Yep.
Nice pair of socks. I mean, a nice pair of socks is the difference between feeling cold and feeling warm, Trent.
Yeah. Oh,
I get it. And plus, it's not one of those things where you're suddenly like, oh, you know what? I need socks. But if somebody hands you a pack of 6 socks, you're the richest man on earth.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. Well, there's a pair of socks in there too.
To quote Azrael, I would say, or to riff off Azrael, I would say there is no pleasure, no rapture, no exquisite sin greater than a pack of new socks.
And on that note, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. You are our fresh pack of socks, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to follow me on almost any social media. I am that Will Wilkins. Trent is a part of him. The show, NetHeads on Air. Thank you very much. Anything you wanted to plug, Trent?
If you are enjoying WandaVision, check out, it's collected in trade paperback. It's like 12 issues of the comic book that inspired WandaVision, Vision, by Tom King. You can buy it online too. I think it's even included in like a lot of the free stuff from Amazon. But check it out. It's an amazing comic book.
I tell you what, Trent, after the show, there will be a link on netheadsonair.com so you can look up for it. And I agree. It was recommended to me in 2016, well after the fact, and one of the most amazing reads I've ever had in a comic book. Right? It's
man, he everything he touches, he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, and the one image of the comic book with the Vision and his family standing in this antiquated or this cozy American suburb is kind of what helped conceptualize this. But man, dude, wait till you watch this show. There is so much going on. But yeah, you are our pack of socks. We appreciate you. Check out the Visions. Also, please, if you want, patreon.com, NetHeads on Air. Until next time, I am Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
So I didn't say anything, but during the show, right near the end here, I got a message from my lovely wife, Denise, and it said, Did you turn the oven on?
I would just.
Okay, so there is a downside to that. Oops.
Maybe coordinate that next time.
Give a little heads up, probably, if you're going to be starting a large incendiary device in the house. Make sure everyone's aware, right?
Yes, that'd be a good idea.